like an address after the local government election that happened in River State, and he mentioned he directed the whole thing to the governor Sim Fubara, but somehow did not make mention of the FCT minister Wiki, and the governor came out and said, if you're going to address this topic, we all know where the problem is from. So how are you addressing me and leaving out your cabinet member that is actually causing the problem? And he, in that same article, talked about the fact that River State is very key in the oil production of the country, and if the problem is not settled, then it's definitely going to, in his words, it could affect oil production in the state. So these people coming out to say that they would bomb the oil installations in River State if the beef, let me just say that, if the beef is not squashed and if the president does not intervene, looking at the fact that Nyesom Wike is trying to get a court order to stop the allocation for the local government from going to the local government, I think that this is quite obvious where this is coming from.
If we have gotten to the point where a militant group would come and threaten to shut down, or to bomb oil installations, and that if this happens, it's definitely going to affect the masses, it's going to affect the citizenry, right? So if we've gotten to a point where the Niger Delta militant is coming out to threaten to do something like this, before the government step in to fix this issue, I feel like we're in a bad place. All right, the president has the power to call these two people to order. The question is, why is he not doing so yet? Why is it that a militant group has to come in to now threaten to shut down or to bomb oil installations before something is done about this? I keep saying that for every time that the government bodies are having clashes, the masses are the ones who are heavily affected. We're already complaining about, the hike in the fuel prices. Now imagine this thing pulls through, and God forbid, because we don't want it to get to that point. Okay, so that's my take on this. I don't even know why we have to get to the point where, the Niger Delta militant comes in. In fact, I was going to say, this is not the first time that a militant group, or maybe, let's say, in quote, a terrorist group comes out to threaten the government. Like, how did we get to the point? Where is the audacity even coming from? How do you even come out to say, what, we want to bomb oil installations?
Welcome to Nigeria.
This, I mean, at all levels, this is wrong. This is wrong at all levels. This threat is a slap, as far as we're concerned, to the face of the Nigerian government. So this is me just saying that President Tinubu needs to come out to look into this issue between Wike and Governor Fubara. Look into it, look for ways to resolve it. Because, like I said earlier, it's definitely going to affect the masses. We are at the receiving end. When two elephants are fighting, the grass suffers. And in this case scenario, the people of Port Harcourt, the people of Nigeria as a whole, the people that are going to be directly and indirectly affected, when maybe if the oil installations are bombed, they are the ones that are going to be affected severely. Right, so the president needs to listen to what is going on, pay close attention, and look for ways to resolve this issue between Siminalayi Fubara and Nyesom Wike.
I actually have a couple of questions, and it's just that, okay, so it's been over a month since the local government election. Why has the president failed to intervene in the rift between the FCT minister and the governor? Why as Nyesom Wike, the FCT minister, continue to play demigod? And of course, this is a clear replay of karma that is happening. If you look at the fact that Nyesom Wike also did the same thing to his predecessor, Rotimi Amechi, and now is, a lot of people can't take what they dish out. And this is just what is playing out in the Old Rivers situation. But my very, very, very question is, why as the president failed to intervene in the old Rift too?
I mean, that's the question that we've been asking. Because if the president, had intervened earlier, the Niger Delta militant group won't come out to say, you know what, if you don't intervene or if you don't do something about this, we're going to act. And this is also because they're feeling that Nyesom Wike is going to leverage, his office and his power to, short circuit the judgment. Right? So, and I mean, they don't want that to happen. They feel like he's going to leverage his office to buy to just make it come in his
And
favor,
another bad
basically.
thing that if you look at it very carefully, that means that people can just tune the judiciary to where they want to tune it to. Because why is it they are talking about the court order like it's already a sure thing that they know that it's going to be able to secure. And if you look at it very carefully, Nyesom Wike is like the god. He is always so when it comes to court order, it's always so fast, like snap of a finger. So I'm wondering, like, is judiciary a tool for the FCT minister, or is it just very good with, or are his lawyers very good with securing court orders?
So we don't even want to get to that point where we say, oh, judiciary is a tool in the hands of
No, it's looking like
right?
it. Because if you look at the old PDP case, the old PDP drama that is happening, it's been so any small thing is court order, court order, court order, and now they're making reference to that. So that means that they know that it's already in the pipeline, and they're just calling attention to it before it actually happens. Is it not looking like it's a tool already?
So, and that I don't want to outrightly say whether it's a tool or not. The only thing that I'm going to say is that it's because of reasons like this that we call for autonomy, right? Right, and we say that what the judiciary has to be able to stand on its own so that they can deliver judgment, okay, and not be biased in the process. So because if the judiciary has autonomy, I don't want to outrightly say that Wike is either using them as a tool, buying them to judge in his favor or not. I just want to say that this is trying to make us look into the aspect of trying to make the government see the need to give judiciary their autonomy, right? So that they can deliver judgment without any bias.
That is like a long journey, but it's a long short. But I mean, we're going to get there sooner or later. It's just like it's a gradual process. And, like they say, one step at a time, right? Before a baby would eventually walk, the baby would have to crawl. And I don't even think we're at the crawling stage yet, but sooner or later we'll get there.
Let me also point out that this is a huge threat, coming from the Niger Delta militant, and like I also mentioned earlier, it's a huge slap on the face of the Nigerian government, and threatening to shut down major oil installations in Niger Delta. This also means disrupting governance at all levels, right? So the government needs to act on this. I don't think they should trivialize it and say, oh, it's one of those
common threats.
Exactly, one of those threats. No, if this happens, and we're not praying for it to, the masses are going to suffer. The Nigerian citizens, it's going to affect them greatly.
And unfortunately, they will still use our money, taxpayers' money, to still repair whatever damage that happened. So it's just better to, prevention is better than cure, is what they always say. It's better to, for the president to come out and mediate peace between these two individuals and find a way forward. They can both coexist, and somebody has to be able to take his or eyes off something that they want so badly. It's just it's a long shot, but like I keep saying, Nigeria and the political terrain is another different. It's a different ball game on its own, and every day there's a new drama. There's a new outlook to look at things every single day, and it's just tiring. And I just hope that they don't eventually have to carry on with this threat and go ahead with it. It will be a very terrible thing.
It's going to have a very drastic impact on the Nigerian oil industry. So the government really needs to intervene. And I mean, they need to call for peace to reign, because this is also distracting the Rivers State governor from doing the things that he needs to do. Now you're focusing on the rift that you have between exactly, and it's deviating your attention from focusing on the people who you're there to lead. So the earlier they fix this issue and settle, the better.
Next story, fuel consumption. 10,000 marketers may shut down over massive drop, high cost. The story is from The Punch, and it reads, Nigeria's fuel consumption has plummeted by 92% from 60 million liters per day in May 2023 to 4.5 million liters per day in August 2024, according to the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. This drastic decline is attributed to soaring fuel prices, which have risen by 488% since President Bola Tinubu announced the removal of fuel subsidies in May 2023. The Petroleum Product Retail Outlet Owners Association of Nigeria reports that approximately 10,000 of its members are on the verge of shutting down due to huge losses. The cost of a truckload of premium motor spirit (PMS) has increased from 7 million naira to 47 million naira in 6 months, severely affecting trading capital. This has resulted in reduced fuel purchases, with many marketers struggling to stay afloat. The fuel crisis has led to significant job losses, particularly among truck drivers and petrol station workers. The Nigerian Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers (NUPENG) has confirmed that many petrol stations are closed, increasing economic hardship. The Independent Petroleum Market Association of Nigeria (IPMAN) also report reduced fuel consumption affecting its members. Industry leaders are seeking government intervention to address the crisis. Petron has written to President Tinubu requesting a 10 billion naira grant to save affected marketers' businesses. The fuel price hike has curbed cross-border smuggling, but the overall impact on the economy remains concerning. With widespread hardship and economic strain, urgent action is needed to mitigate the effect of fuel crisis on Nigeria's oil industry and citizens.
You know that for every time we come on this program, we keep talking about the hike in the fuel price and the impact that it's having on the citizens. But for this morning, we're looking at the retailers.
Yeah.
Coming out to say, what, this is heavy on us. We're looking at the prices soaring, is rising by 488% since President Bola Tinubu announced the removal of fuel subsidies in May 2023. And this is also pointing to the fact that a lot of people have come out to say, what, if the president can, looking at, removing fuel subsidy and seeing the impact that it's having on both, the masses and the retailers, right? How about subsidizing the fuel? Now that you've tested it and you're seeing that it's not working, Nigerians are suffering, right? The fuel price is soaring by the day. In order to cushion the effect, how about thinking of subsidizing it so that you can relieve Nigerians? Because that is where we're getting to at this point. At this point, they've recorded the Nigerian fuel consumption, has increased by 92% per day. Do you understand the points I'm trying to make, right? Mm-hmm. So this is us just saying, we're still circling back to the same things that we keep saying every day. The increment or the price of fuel increase is affecting Nigerians, it's affecting retailers, it's affecting the businesses. And if something is not done about it and done fast, I don't know how the downturn is going to look like.
The funny thing is, sadly for me, I think that the subsidy removal is a must, whether we like it or not. I'm happy that it's gone. The only problem I have is the fact that a lot of things were done at the same time without looking at the effect it's going to have on Nigerians.
No, but look at the effect that the subsidy removal is having on Nigerians.
Whether we like it or not, we have to remove the fuel subsidy. I'm a huge fan of the subsidy removal. I've done some readings. It's something that I'm of the opinion that Nigerians deserve, right? But why we have this problem is the fact that the subsidy was removed, Naira was devalued at the same time, and a lot of things were done at the same time without looking at how to cushion the effect of all of these economic revamp at the same time. And you can't want to shut down a water pipe to fix it and not provide an alternative for people to be able to get water. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? If something needs to be done, if it's an important thing for Nigeria to get it done, you don't have to compound it with other things that will make it worse at the same time. The problem with the fuel subsidy removal is the fact that the subsidy was removed, it was gone, and at the same time, the naira was devalued and floated. And of course, that has led us, according to this story, has led us to more people out of jobs, because if people are losing their jobs with the high level of unemployment we already had, that is bad. And look at the figures that they are saying. A truckload of PMS was 7 million naira, and now it is 47
just in
million
16
naira
months.
in 16 months. That is a lot. I remember having a guest here who is an expert. She's a let's say contractor, and she gave us a breakdown of all of these things and how it would affect Nigeria. And it's not like now companies that would fuel stations that would comfortably buy one truckload now pair with like five petrol stations to buy one truckload, and 5 of them would have to share. Now it's not it's a lot on Nigerians, the masses, the consumers, and of course now it's also a lot on the marketers. And still brings me back to the question is, where are we going?
The same question that we have been asking.
Where are we going?
Right? If this fuel crisis is going to, lead to job losses, petrol stations shutting down, it also means that, they're not going to be able to serve a lot of Nigerians. So if you look at it all round, the effect is, but that's why, when you say stuff like you advocated for the removal of fuel subsidy, I'm like, I don't think I buy into it. If anything that is going to cushion the hardship or reduce the effect of the hardship on Nigerians, that's what I go for. Right? I feel like when policies are made and effected and you test it and see that, this is not working, retracing your step. Okay, look at the short time that we've tested it. The short time that we've tested it, look at where we are at now.
Fuel subsidy is a means for people to siphon money. It's just a scam. There's no two way about it. There's no how you want to brand it. There's no how you want to rebrand it. There's no how you want. No matter the sugar coat you give it, it's a way for people to siphon money. It's a way for people to steal taxpayers' money, your money, my money, our money. So if subsidy is gone, I would just like for them to keep it that it's gone. Now what they have to do is, get proper economic team in place that will find a way forward for Nigeria. We know that, we keep talking about the fact that Nigeria is blessed. We have, quite a lot of places they can tap from and generate revenue. Nigeria is blessed with a lot of mineral resources. Look at our tourist centers, amazing. All they have to do is just, activate it, rebrand, and, do a lot of rejigging. Call people. If they have to fund a team, mostly young people, let them think, let them have think tanks. That's the word. Have think tanks that will think for you, and then have a proper economic team in place that would look for a way forward and look for how to, quickly get Nigeria out of where it is now, this problem that we are in. And of course, let's not forget to look at the fact that the association is asking for 10 billion. When they say grant, they mean like a dash. I'm really curious, because if everybody is asking for a grant, the SMEs can also come out and say that
exactly. And how long are you going to ask for the grant? Because if let's say President Tinubu grants their request and hands them 100 billion naira, right? How are we sure that they're not going to come back asking for more? Because we're not even certain of the effect that is going to have on their businesses. Is it going to relieve them? Are they going to continue recording losses? These are some of the things that you need to also ask and put in place, basically.
It's just I don't know. I don't have the words right now, because why are you asking for 10 billion naira, like 10 whole billion naira? If everybody keeps asking for that, where do you think it's going to?
It's 100 billion, it's not 10 billion. See, the thing is that the continuous hardship and the economic strain is a lot, right? And if urgent action is not taken, if the government doesn't look into this matter, very well, and start taking steps to make sure that they mitigate this effect, the economic state of the country is still going to continue to, going downturn, right? And it's still going to keep affecting Nigerians. The fuel crisis of the Nigerian industry and the citizen is bad. It's affecting everything, down to the pepper seller or the pepper grinder, on the street, right? So the earlier that the government, the president, looks into this matter and looks for ways to curb the effect that it has on Nigerians, the better.
Babe, I don't have to work. So I'm just lost, because really we need to look for a way forward. If the marketers come out to complain, it's Nigerians that will suffer it too. Because now the market has been properly deregulated, and now they can come out and say, look, we are buying petrol for 40 us. If they want to sell it 2,000 naira per liter or 2,500 per liter, no matter how much they want to recoup their money, everybody wants to make gain, right?
Exactly.
That's the essence of running a business. They can't keep running businesses and keep running at loss. They will pay staff salaries. Mind you, they would also have to run on generator, either diesel or petrol themselves, to be able to sell these things. A lot of factors go into all of these problems that we have in Nigeria. And another factor that we have to look into is maybe if the power sector is a bit functional, they would not have to pay, they would not have so much operational cost, and that would, at least reduce the load of financial losses they have to count. Because look at it very carefully. They have to also burn fuel to be able to sell products to Nigerians, and some of them have let's say about 6 pumps, which two dispensers on each side. That's about 12 staffs, and if they have to downsize, that's about 6 people going. Or sometimes they can even just abandon 2 pumps and use 4 pumps, and that's 10 people gone, with just 6 or 4 people left controlling the pumps. And then they can now, they can multitask and say, one of you is going to serve as the financial, and it's just bad. And the fact that, Nigerians have to suffer more loss at this point is where my own major problem is.
Exactly.
It's just Nigerians are still at the receiving end of all of these things. So the way forward, have a strong economic team, have a think tank that will think for you, but please don't bring back fuel subsidy.
Okay, let's look at the next headline. It says SANU should begin indefinite strike. This one is from Portuguese, but we talked about this, I think it was last week.
Yes, it is.
Now, to look into the main story, the Non-Academic Staff Union of Educational and Associated Institutions, NASU, and the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SANU, have announced an indefinite strike starting Sunday night. Now, the unions are protesting the federal government's failure to pay 4 months withheld salaries and implement the 2009 agreements. The Joint Action Committee of NASU and SANU issued a 7-day ultimatum to the government, which expires midnight Sunday. Despite previous interactions and assurances, the government has not met their demands. The unions have exercised patience, allowing multiple deadlines to pass without a satisfactory response. The strike directive applies to all NASU and SANU members in federal and state-owned universities, as well as inter-university centers. Local demands can also be incorporated into the strike action. The union have instructed members to hold a joint congress on Monday to proceed with the indefinite strike. Key demands include payment of outstanding salaries, improved remuneration, and allowances, and implementation of the 2009 agreement. The federal government had previously invoked the no work, no pay policy during the prolonged strike in 2022. The strike is expected to impact university activities nationwide. We are back to striking.
Back to square one.
We're back to striking. And when we were talking about this last week, when I think that the taking help them to say, okay, you know what, the president is doing something about this, so let us chill, right? So when they are not seeing that efforts are being made, to address their demands. I mean, would they just sit at home, fold their hands, and do nothing? I keep saying that they are fighting for the future of our children. The education system in Nigeria, let's not even go that way, because it's deteriorating. If you want to get proper education now, you have to go outside the country. People send their children and their wards outside the country, or to private universities in the country to get proper education, because they no longer trust our main education system, which is federal and the government funded education system, to do the needful. So if the NASU, the SANU, the ASU come out as as associations, and what, there needs to be a change. And what we're talking about, we're looking at is 2009 that agreements were made. And again, we're also looking at salaries, 4-month salaries that have been held since 2022. Why should you even withhold a lecturer's salary, an educator's salary, because they come out to say we're not going to work if our demands are not met? Because as far as we're concerned, striking, that is an industrial action, and is one of the major ways to say to get the attention of the government regarding any issue at all. Okay, so my other challenge also is how these strikes last, because before you know what is happening, they'll say, "Oh, let us." No, sometimes when they even start the strike, the indefinite strike, it doesn't even last for maybe 1 week or 2 weeks. That also means that they've been listening to the government, and they've been patient with the government.
Yes, I mean, if you look at it very carefully, they first gave a 21-day ultimatum, and then came back and gave another 18-day, then came back and gave another 7-day. And then a committee was constituted by the Ministry of Education, and they set up a 31-man committee. After that, another 58-man committee was set up by the president himself to overlook, and see to they were trying to renegotiate the already agreed agreement from 2009. And of course, talking about how the payment of salaries of the 4-month withheld salaries that happened during the industrial, we've been on this thing since August. And if you ask me, I think that ASU has tried a lot. They've given enough time. August, September, October, that's about 3 months. And they started early August was when we first took the story. And after the president begging last week, I don't expect that this week I'm coming to read a story that ASU is going on strike.
Yeah.
And it's just sad, because if you look at it, just like you said, it's okay to beg, but outside begging, what next? Are you trying to make sure that the industrial action doesn't happen, or are you just trying to beg so that people can see that the president has come out to beg for begging's sake? Because that's what's looking like now. And the sad thing is, Nigerians are the ones that will bear the brunt of the whole thing. Nigerians are the ones suffering it. And people are already tired of school. It's already, yes, if you look at it, like, people are tired of school. Some people don't even want to go to school, and then you're going on strike. They'll be happy. The last ASU strike, a lot of people didn't go back to school. And that added to the number of out-of-school children that we have in Nigeria. Now imagine doing this again. A lot of people will just, the three weeks break, sometimes it's too much for some people's brain to carry. Imagine going on an indefinite strike that you don't even know when it's going to end. Hopefully this would not take more than 3 days, or max 2 weeks, for them to be able to settle. But if it goes on as long as that one, then they'll probably have to start from 100 level to start coaching some people again, because trust me, the brain cells are already weak.
The Nigerian government needs to really pay attention to what SANU and NASU have to say, because just like I mentioned earlier, the education sector needs prompt attention.
It's very important.
As soon as possible. There's a lot to be done, in the education sector, right? So if this indefinite strike is going to bring answers, because the bad thing about striking is that we've really not seen any results that any strike has produced in recent times, right? So if sitting down with the presidency to have a conversation about this and look at the way forward, and get maybe actions out of the meetings, get them to begin to implement some of the things that maybe they discussed. It's going to definitely be better than striking, because just like we said, it's going to impact universities. Schools will shut down, students are going to go home, and we don't know how long. Exactly, and we don't know how long the strike is going to last. All right, so if having a sit down with the government will solve the problem, I mean, that is something that the both institutions or the both associations should look at. But again, the question now is, do you think that the both associations will go on strike without already having a sit down with the government?
I think that the negotiation has been going on. Like I said, there have been a couple of committees that have been set up, like 3 different committees that have been set up, and from the first 21-day ultimatum, they had a meeting with the Minister of Education. After that one, there's been a couple of backdoor meetings, and of course, I even heard that they even had like a conference where SANU was complaining that ASU is not carrying them along in another internal battle, fighting for superiority. Maybe that's why they've not been able to get a headway, not been able to being heard properly. And of course, with this now, trust me, they've talked and they've talked and they've talked. So it's not like it's the first time, or like they've not had a sit-down conversation with the people at the Realms of Affairs. They have. Just that maybe they've not, come to like a proper conclusion. Or I'm sure maybe the major thing that would be the problem is the renegotiation of the already agreed agreement, and maybe the IPPIS that they want to be taken off for payment. It could be one of those 2 things. Because the last story we read of where the president was begging, he already talked about the fact that he was going to pay the 4-month withheld salary from the last strike action. So I think that the 2 major problems would be the renegotiation of the already agreed agreement, and the fact that they need the associations wants them to be taken off IPPIS. Maybe that would be one of those 2 things.
Talking about promising to repay that's the 4-month salary. The question is, how long are we going to keep talking and not doing? Maybe if the government had already paid the salaries, they would say, okay, one thing down.
Implementation problem. We've already established.
Do you understand the point I'm trying to make? But that's not a conversation that we're supposed to be having. We need a government that says a thing and goes ahead to do it. Because every other time when your actions show that you're just only talking, you're just only making promises, you're just only creating policies and not acting on it, I mean, the issues like strike actions, issues like protests will keep coming up because people don't hold your word for it again.
I mean, your words don't hold water again.
Exactly.
They're just talking.
Exactly. So if they had even already gone ahead to say, okay, you know what, these people are asking for a lot of things, but at the time we can afford to pay off the 4-month salaries that we're owing. That could be something that the associations can hold on to say, you know what, the government has already done one. Okay, let us chill for them a bit to do the remaining. At least do something. That's why I kept saying that promises and begging, they are not the way forward. We need the presidency or the government to act on these issues. We're looking at these strike actions consistently disrupting academic calendar. People are not able to complete their courses and graduate.
Mind you, NAFDAC is still on strike.
What are we saying?
NAFDAC is still on strike.
So this is where we're at as a nation, where we're still, talking about the welfare of our lecturers, our education system, and we're not supposed to be here. The government really needs to look into this and, help the, I don't know.
Okay,
they just really need to look, because
because
we keep saying this and saying this and saying this, and it's as if, nothing is being done. The continuous strike action every other year is either is ASU that is striking or NASU that is striking. The government needs to sit. I mean, 2009, how many years later? 2022, how many years later?
Another association or another sector that has threatened to go on strike is the port authorities, and I'm hoping that that one also they don't go ahead with it.
I think that for progress to be made, maybe several need to, I don't know, come together or join forces. Take, for instance, the NLC could say, okay, you know what ASU is demanding for, we're seeing the need for it. Maybe let's come together.
I'm wondering why NLC is
NANS, exactly. NANS,
NANS.
I cannot leave NANS. I cannot leave NANS because the Nigerian students are going to be greatly affected by this, or they are always affected by strike actions.
The last example I made the last time you mentioned
NANS, yeah.
Very.
I'm particular about NANS because they have a lot to offer.
Every time young Nigerians or Nigerian students come out to say they want to do this, the first set of people to hold a press conference to disassociate themselves from whatever action Nigerian youth want to take is NANS. Look at the protests. They were the first set of people to have a press conference. They had a press conference to say that they are not part of the action. This is something that affects majority of your people, students, but you are the first set of people to go and have a press conference to say, you know what, we're not, and in fact, they are the one that even called for the confab. And now, since they've called for the confab in August, we don't even know the modalities in which the confab is going to go. We don't know when the confab is going to be. We don't even know, there are so many things unknown about the confab, right? And if you look at it carefully, ASU is talking about going on strike. They've been on it since August. That same August that they came out to do press conference. I've not seen NANS come out to say that this thing that ASU is fighting for is now looking like, is ASU a part, is NANS in the pocket of the government? Are they in the pocket of the government? Have the government put them, or does the government have such strong hold on them that they cannot come out and stand for the people that they are meant to stand for? Is that what NANS are trying to portray? Because one would expect that they should be up and running about this ASU and SANU's saga. They should be on top of their voices. We should be seeing press conferences here and there. But you've not even seen anything, not even a tweet from the association, not even a post, nothing from them. And they are so quick to write. If it's election period now, you see them writing every time. The Sagarity, the Nigerian students, you see them everywhere. But now they are so invincible, like the Invincible Four.
I think that for efforts to be made, several associations need to come together.
That's where the NLC is meant to come in.
Yeah. NLC needs to go. I mentioned NLC, I mentioned NANS, you stayed on NANS because... And
I also mentioned that I'm wondering why NLC... Okay, there's a story about NLC here, but it's not even about... I've not seen anything about NLC talking about ASU.
But this is something that they need to also jump on, right? So the government might not be able to, tender to or tend to all of their demands.
Yeah.
But you see the 4 months withheld salaries. I think that is a good place to start from. It's a good place to start from.
At least make them happy.
Exactly.
If that money is paid at once, at least with the old economic meltdown, they would use it to do something tangible.
So because the effect that this is having on our education system, the students of Nigeria is a lot, and it keeps making the education system deteriorate. And I mean, we're still looking at it that no efforts is being made, to mitigate the effects that this entire strike action and the back and forth with the federal government is having on the education system. So just like I mentioned earlier, all hands need to be on deck, and let's also see the fruit that this indefinite strike is going to bear, basically.
Right, let's go on to the next story, which Shatima needs new aircraft. Bernice Speakers tells FG. The story is from The Punch and it reads, Abdulkarim Lawan, Speaker of the Borno State House of Assembly, has made an urgent appeal to the federal government to purchase a new aircraft for Vice President Kashim Shettima. This call to action comes after a series of incidents involving the Vice President's current plane, which has raised concerns about Shettima's safety while representing President Bola Tinubu globally. Lawan expressed sympathy for the Nigerian government, particularly the Vice President office, crew, and staff, following the recent incident at the JFK airport in New York. He also thanked God for saving Shettima's life and those on board. But the speaker emphasized the need for a thorough investigation into the incident, highlighting the risk associated with using the old and faulty aircraft. The Vice President plane has experienced several incidents recently, including a foreign object hitting the plane during a stopover at JFK Airport. The incident led to the cancellation of Shettima's trip to the Commonwealth Summit in Samoa. The presidency confirmed that the plane was damaged, making it impossible for the Vice President to continue his journey. Lawan's appeal is not isolated, as the House of Representatives Committee on National Security and Intelligence had previously recommended acquiring new aircraft for both President Tinubu and Vice President Shettima. However, only the President aircraft was replaced, sparking concerns about the Vice President's safety. The Speaker's urgent call to action aims to prevent potential air mishaps and ensures Shettima's safety while carrying out his official duties.
This involves, the safety of the Vice President. I feel like when issues like this come up, it needs to be taken seriously, especially because we're looking at the recent incident at the JFK airport in New York. We're also looking at several other, the series of incidents that has happened earlier involving the Vice President's current plane. So we're seeing there's evidence to back up claims. So this is not an issue to trivialize. So we're also thanking God for saving the Vice President's life and also the crew, the people on board. But if this is going to keep happening, it means that the safety of our Vice President, is questioned. Okay, so urgent appeal needs to be made for the purchase of new aircraft for the Vice President. Just like I also mentioned earlier, there's been series of incidents. There's evidence to back the claim. So anything to keep our Vice President safe and alive. I don't like your facial expressions. No, but really,
I want you to learn.
No, but really, anything. I'm telling you, this involves the safety of people. This involves lives. We're looking at not only
your life safe in your house.
No, wait, chill.
Can you sleep and close your eyes?
I understand. Not only the Vice President, the crew members, a lot of people there.
Unbelievable.
Right?
What happened to? Oh my goodness. Okay, so first off, I think it was earlier this week, last week, we talked about cutting down cost of governance.
But that doesn't mean leaving the Vice President to crash now in his plane.
Crash. You can as well just, but there are other aircrafts that you can fly.
Or share with the President.
Yes! What happened to them sharing? Nigeria is broke. Why do we have to keep splurging money on things like this? If the President is in Nigeria and the Vice President has to go somewhere, then take the presidential jet, for goodness sake. If you must fly, then there are first class tickets. You can buy 5. We don't mind that one. You can buy 5 first class tickets. In fact, you can buy the whole first class ticket and just let it be you and your crew that will be there. That's fine.
My question is, because they mentioned now that they had previously recommended acquiring new aircraft for both President Tinubu and Vice President. The question is, the President's aircraft.
Going there.
Did we have issues before?
Yes, I'm going there. When they replaced the presidential jet, right? And the question is, there are like a lot of questions surrounding it. One, how much was he gotten? The old aircraft, what happened to
the old aircraft?
Are they just there, sitting down, with using taxpayers' money to maintain and pay for the spaces, or did they sell them? How much were they sold? if you want to replace something, I don't say don't replace it. I mean, I love our vice president. I love Nigeria. I love my country. I don't want our vice president to die. Like, I don't want the crew members, those people are just looking for what they will eat, their daily bread. I don't want them to die, right? But we have to also look at the fact that my life is not safe in my house. Your life is not safe in your house. Our lives are not safe. All of us are not safe in Nigeria. And, if the money that could be used to do something else is used to buy a jet for one person, right? I don't see the economic value in that. If they're going to sell off the old aircraft, let them sell it off. Let us know that, okay, those aircraft are being sold, and this is how much they are sold for, right? This is how much we have on ground. This is how much we're going to acquire in new aircraft. We're going to have the money from the old aircraft that was sold, right? And we are going to take this money from your money, because it's my money, your money, our money, taxpayers' money, and add to the money of those old aircrafts that were sold and buy a new one. That would not be a bad idea, right? But outrightly abandoning those ones, putting them somewhere, right, rotting away without selling them. And then if they're going to buy a new aircraft, are they going to be accountable to Nigerians that this is how much we bought it without inflating the price? Let people come and bid. Let private jet companies come and bid and say, this is how much I want to sell, this is what this one has, this is what this. Let them come and bid. Let it be televised. Let us see that, okay, you are being transparent.
In Nigeria,
I'm just joking. I know I'm joking. I mean, it's a long shot, but at the same time, we are looking at this point. Nigeria is broke, right? And you're saying that, we don't, the vice president, the safety is paramount. Yes, I agree.
It's
very paramount.
It is. And also looking at the series of incidents that have happened.
What if they were staged?
We don't know that.
I mean, I'm just saying what I read on Twitter.
We don't know that. What we know is that there's been a series of incidents involving the vice president's aircraft.
I really don't mind them buying an aircraft, but we have to look at the second. These are issues that I've raised. We didn't sell the old aircraft. If you're going to sell them, how much will you sell them? How much are you going to generate from those aircraft that you're selling, right? If you have sold them, okay, fine. This is how much you have on ground. How much do you want to acquire the new jet that you want to acquire? It's okay to, I mean, the reason that you're there is for you to enjoy our money anyways.
No, that's not the reason why they're there. They're there to serve
Nigeria. Okay, so
they're there to serve us. They're not there to enjoy taxpayers' money.
So really, if they are going to sell off the old aircraft, I don't have an issue with them buying another aircraft. But if they're not going to sell off those old aircraft and they are going to go and borrow money somewhere, or they are going to take part of our money to buy a new aircraft without being accountable to us, then I'm really against it. Do you understand my point? Is first, they cut down. Last week we took a story about the president cutting down
cost of governance,
reducing the number of convoys for ministers from 6 to 3, actually from 10 to 3, and of course reducing their the security personnel attached to them. And I'm sure it's gone like that for top government officials also. And of course governors would also have to do the same thing and reduce convoys. I mean, that's if some states even have convoys to even start with, and if we are looking at cutting costs like that, and now we're talking about using millions of dollars to buy a new PJ, it's like we're going back to square one.
Another thing I think I want to also mention is, the speaker emphasized the need for thorough investigation, and that's also another thing I feel like is very, very important, thorough investigation into the incidents, because if you're coming out to tell us that there have been, series of incidents, what are the incidents? We need to know. Have you investigated it? What exactly is the issue? You don't outrightly call an aircraft old and faulty, right? So investigating, the incident is also another thing that is going to help, give more insight into what the issue is. And as Sarah said, if we need to sell off
yes, it's just better.
the old aircraft and then buy a new one.
Nigeria has is maintenance culture is very poor.
Exactly.
Nigeria does not know how to maintain its properties. You see a lot of things owned by Nigeria. You're wondering, why is this thing like this? You see all those, look at all those structures, look at all those buildings. Especially this Abuja, you go around, you see, you're like, why is this building so dilapidated? And this is a functional government structure. And then you're wondering, at the end of the day, I mean, sometimes you would be happy that it's looking that way, because by the time you hear the amount they would award the contract, your stomach will just sink again, and you just be sad. It's like, okay.
Listen, the president has confirmed this plane was damaged, right? When it happened, and that was part of the reasons why even the vice president couldn't continue his journey. So my stand is that we're seeing evidence backing the claim. Zara, stop looking at me like that. We're looking at the lives and the safety of these people, not only the vice president, the cabin crew.
That's why they don't have to. Do they have to try? What if Nigeria is so broke, so bankrupt that we cannot afford to, feel the
To fly our vice
Yes.
president.
Can they just use? Have you not seen other presidents going out through using other aircraft? Must they? Or what happens to if the aircraft is so faulty and they know that it's faulty? Why not use the presidential jet? Why, in fact, we need to sue them for putting our vice president's life at risk to even start with. Because if they can come out to say that they know that the aircraft was faulty,
It means that you're incompetent. Why didn't you check the aircraft well before you put our vice president on it?
Do you want to kill him for us? This is actually not funny. I'm actually dead serious right now. If you look at it very carefully, this is somebody being incompetent.
Exactly.
And people need to be held accountable for their actions. If you feel like, okay, if you know the presidential jet was bad, then why let him fly it in the first place? In fact, is it not better if they even hire, like they can rent private jets? Is it not to rent? You just rent it for a certain number of days, and then you go to where you want to go to, and then you come back. It's better than putting the lives of people at risk. To even make matter was a whole Nigeria's vice president. That is bad. That is bad.
Like we said earlier, we want to thank God, for saving
his life and the lives of the
vice
people
president.
on board.
Exactly. And
Okay, babe, let's get this.
oh, okay.
Hello, good morning. You're on to Bright Republic.
Hello, good morning, my sister.
Good
Good
morning.
morning. Good
Mr.
morning,
John,
Mr.
good
John.
morning.
It's Mr. J.
No, it's not.
It's not.
That's the weekend, that's the work.
Fine, thank you.
Yeah, it seems all our talking and complaining, the government is not everything. I don't know whether someone will just connect your radio to be close to the dealer.
So that they can hear.
Yeah, so that they can hear the complaint of the master. So the money the government is spending is our tax money.
Mm.
And we are not getting return.
Uh-huh.
The way you are now, maybe I don't know whether you are married or not. You understand? If you are married, if you are eating now, your son or your brother came to stand in your front. I mean, before you eat the meat, you will give it the food first.
Mm.
The work of the government is to take care of them, not the other way around. Yeah, they are taking care of them.
Okay, Mr. John got a bit distracted there, but I mean, when Mr. John said from what he's been able to say so far that is Nigerians, the Nigerian government are meant to take care of us,
And they are not hearing the cry of
but they are
Nigerians.
taking care of themselves. Maybe somebody should help us send the link of this program to them so that maybe they can listen. But I mean, we don't want to jeopardize the safety of our vice president and of course the crew members on board. If there's a need for them to replace the aircraft,
Please, by all means.
yes,
By all
by all
means.
means,
That's where I
after selling-
stand.
after selling off the old aircraft, the revenue must come from something, and it's not going to 100% come from taxpayers' money, and we're not going to take any loan to take this, right? So if they are going to buy a new aircraft, they should firstly start by selling off the old aircraft that they said is bad. Let them sell it off, and then we'll now start looking at how do they want to raise the money to buy the new aircraft. I think that's the way forward. Chico, let's go to the next story.
Okay, this one is from Vanguard, NLC to IMF. You're behind Nigeria's economic woes. They've started pointing finger against that. Let's look into the main story. The Nigeria Labour Congress has rejected the International Monetary Fund's claim that it had no role in the Nigerian government's decision to remove petrol subsidies and implement other economic policies that harm the people. Now, according to NLC, the IMF and the World Bank have consistently recommended harsh and unworkable economic policies to developing nations, resulting in increased socioeconomic hardship and stagnation. Moving forward, the NLC President Joe Ajaero criticized the IMF's denial of involvement, stating that it disregards the extensive influence the IMF has on policy formation in developing countries. Ajaero emphasized that IMF's policy dialogues often suggest subsidy cuts as necessary steps towards fiscal sustainability, which has been detrimental to Nigeria's economic policies. The NLC is concerned that the IMF is trying to distance itself from the consequences of its policy recommendation. The NLC argues that the IMF's recommendations have prioritized fiscal metrics over social welfare, leading to a profound disconnect between the IMF's policies and the lived experiences of Nigerians. The removal of subsidies and price hikes has pushed essential goods beyond the reach of many, with government-provided social safety nets remaining inadequate. The NLC for Nigeria to reclaim its economic sovereignty and resist externally imposed policies that fail to consider local context and the needs of the masses. Ajaero urged the World Bank and IMF to remove their knees from our necks so that we can breathe as a nation. He stated that the IMF's denial of involvement in Nigeria's subsidy removal. NLC advocates for policies that genuinely benefit Nigerians, prioritizing economic policies that drive growth, social welfare, and equity, rather than austerity measures that lead to further economic hardship and social unrest. Now, this case, or this pointing of fingers from NLC to IMF is
hilarious.
Exactly. Especially because you're pointing a finger at people for not carrying out their duties or effectively, or claiming that they had a hand in the petrol removal subsidy. Can we remove what is in your eyes, the log of wood that is in your eyes?
Can we be serious for once?
Do you understand the point I'm trying to make? The question is, a lot of people have come out to say NLC is not really, doing what they need to do, regarding standing up for the people. I've seen it severally, that NLC comes out to say, okay, you know what, we're shutting down the nation and we're going on strike for us to get resolved. Before the strike even starts, it has already stopped. And people have, come out to say that NLC just, backs and then they don't do anything. All right. So this is us just saying, can all of these, bodies or institutions stop pointing fingers and get to work?
Look at for the last time I saw NLC quite active was in 2015, and that was during the Occupy Nigeria strike action that happened. And that time, I think fuel was 65 naira, and they tried to increase it to 87 naira, right? That was in 2015, and it was shut down. If you remember very carefully, like it was a proper shutdown. Everywhere was shut down. That's okay, yes. It was 65 naira, and they were trying to move it to, let me check the exact figure to be sure, right? It was 65 naira, and they were trying to move it to, I think, 87 naira. And you would see that, okay, yes, 65 naira to 140. Now, petrol is how much? 1,000 plus. In some places, 950.
When was the last time we even had a successful strike action from NLC?
That's because NLC is even divided. NLC is divided. Some section have gone to allege that they've gone to collect money from the government. So it's already that they have two sections. They have a section loyal to the government and a section actually loyal to the people, right? Ready to, go on strike. there was, I don't know, I think maybe they settled the differences. I mean, that would be the best thing for them to do for Nigerians' sake. The last strike action that was meant to happen in August, right? We saw a lot of drama that happened, and carefully, if you look at how they were up and doing when they arrested, when Joe Adero was arrested, you would expect that they would use the same energy for things affecting Nigerians. But, bro, let's get this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Of the program.
Good morning.
Thank you very much. It's Abdullah calling from Bari.
Good
Hi,
morning,
Mr.
Mr.
Abdullah.
Abdullah.
Thank you very much. You see, let me start from the NLC.
Okay.
To be frank, you know, NLC was one umbrella before. They have divided it into Trade Union Congress, TUC,
Yes.
and now NLC.
Yes.
So if there is any decision that is taken, it must be a joint decision. Before it was one body. So any decision taken, it must be complied by all. Now it is a matter of divide and rule. That is how the government have some kind of reprieve from whatever action that the Labour Congress want to take. So that is why some people think that NLC is not doing well. You can see, just like you mentioned, some of the drama that took place when Ajero's life was almost taken away. It is Anambra or which place is that? I
Yes.
forgot. Now, NLC, apart from that, even the so-called end bad governance project,
Yes.
despite the fact that NLC said that it has no hand in it, you saw the drama that happened. When allegations were leveled against him, even treasonable felony and what have you,
Yes.
when he himself and his organization were only tenants in that place,
Building,
that,
yes.
they accused the person that the person that is masterminding or helping the end bad governance process.
Yes.
Now, it is not possible for NLC in everything to say that it has to undertake a start dialogue first. Because dialogue is the best answer. Even after the end of bad governance protest, you discover that about 2 times the petroleum price was increased by NNPC.
NNPC, yes.
You see? So, you know, it's just like abracadabra. The more you look,
The less you
you
see.
understand. So, the NLC is trying its best. And Aguero is a strong person. If not, they would have killed him by now. Because they are seeing him as a threat to their own government. Now, there is one thing I want you to understand.
Okay.
This issue of most cases, NLC used to make sure that it respect and actively and anchor it sometimes. But you discover that since 2009, this agreement was signed during Jonathan's regime. It was passed to Buhari, and there was a strike of about 9 months.
Yes.
Then some things were agreed, and they gave them some kind of things, at least to pacify them. They went back, and still is still lingering for long now. Now, it is the parents and the students that are at the receiving end. We don't want